CBS News Prime Time, it's John Dickerson. Let's go overseas for just a second. Biden went over to Israel, gave Bibi Netanyahu a big hug, and sent two carrier groups, the Ford and the Eisenhower, over there to sit off the coast. It's a big show of force on behalf of America. You're covering the Israeli-Gaza conflict right now. What is the challenge of that? In any conflict, there's the so-called fog of war. How hard is it for, let's say, the CBS News organization to feel confident of the news we're getting about the attacks on both sides?
Well, the first thing is we have great reporters who are on the ground risking their lives. It's amazing what they do. And producers in Gaza, in danger. And so you rely on their firsthand account. You be really slow. You always center the human. These are human beings engaged in every possible aspect of this war, and don't forget that. And then you have to be just super careful. We have the number of emails that come from our standards department saying, where did this footage come from? Where did this report come from? Be careful of what you say on TV. Not because it's politically charged, which of course it is, but because you don't want to say something that's going to cause... I mean, look at what happened with the early reporting about the hospital bombing at Gaza. It essentially kept Biden from one half of his meetings when he went over there, because the initial reports were that it had been an Israeli bomb that had hit that hospital. So when you think those are the consequences, you just have to be super, super slow and rely on your reporters to go cover the story everywhere as best they can without getting hurt.
We have been talking on this show together, off and on, 8+ years on this show. And those 8 years they have felt unprecedented, all of them, and especially the last 7. And you're a student of history. You've looked at American politics since the very beginning, or just American history, let alone the politics. Are they unprecedented? Can you give us some context to our times? No pressure.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's the funny thing about history. We're watching history disappear that just happened on January 6th in 2021. In other words, I sometimes feel like, wait a minute, we need to hold on to the history that just happened because people are already forgetting it. And there's a professional class of people who, didn't see the tweet, didn't see the attack. So that to me, in terms of, so unprecedented. I mean, there was, as you know, as a South Carolinian, there was actual violence on the floor of the Senate. And Joanne Freeman has a book about all of the violence that took place before the Civil War.
For those of people who are not educated in South Carolina, that was when Senator Brooks attacked Senator Sumner of...
Preston Brooks, the congressman, attacked Sumner of Massachusetts.
And nearly beat him to death with a cane on the floor of the Senate.
Because
over slavery.
Right, and they both were treated as heroes by their two sides.
So in order to give us a little context and make us feel better, you say, don't worry, it's just as bad as right before the Civil War.
No,
is that what you're saying, John Dickerson?
No, I'm saying it was...
Okay.
No, I'm saying it was much worse during and before the Civil War.
Okay. Well, there's actually stories of, in the GOP conference, of people lunging at Matt Gaetz. There's a little intimation of violence on that side.
Yes, Stephen.
I read the same articles you do, Steve.
Because what's interesting, of course, about that is it's within the same party. And so it goes back and highlights this challenge that now, the new speaker is going to have when he's with Mitch McConnell, which is, do you want to govern, or do you want to hold to these ideas that are inconsistent with governing? I mean, you can't hire a vegan to be head of the sausage-making factory. It just, there are some inconsistencies, and so that's where a lot of that tension comes up. I mean, what was Kevin McCarthy's big sin for Matt Gaetz? He made a deal with Democrats to keep the government open. I think the broad country would prefer people to act in the interest of keeping the government going, but that's not where the conference is right now.
John, just a pleasure as always. Thanks for all the wisdom. CBS News Prime Time streams Monday through Thursday on the CBS News app. It's John Dickerson, everybody. We'll be right back.